am I supposed to stay there? So those are somewhat the things I'll be hearing in this session. So with that, can we please welcome Mr. Aderemi Fakumoju?
Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope it's okay if I stay here. You know, I'm not a pastor, so I think pastors enjoy the privilege of standing and speaking into our lives. And I think that that's a very privileged position to be in. Can we give him a round of applause one more time, please? Okay, so good morning, everyone, once again. So when Pastor was preaching, there was something I noticed. Media, don't try to follow the slides. I have 15 minutes. So if you can, good, good. When Pastor was preaching, right, he stood here. Did anybody notice anything about what he was using to preach? What was Pastor referring to? What was he referring to? His phone. Okay, so thank you for speaking, man. If I rewind back 10 years, what would he be looking at? His notepad. If I go back 20 years, what would he be looking at? His what? Hard copy, right? Okay, so let me ask us one question. If I asked you 15 years ago to compare Bible verses, right? What are you going to use? Concordance. Okay, so does anybody have a concordance here? Does anybody have a concordance here? Anybody at all? Okay, but you have YouVersion. Does anybody have YouVersion Bible app on their phone here? But you have a concordance now. Because it does virtually everything the concordance does. You can search for scriptures, you can compare. So that's it, right? And that's the foundation of what we're talking about. That the career landscape is moving very quickly. You know, there's one example I love using a lot. If I use the same trend, right, I would tell you that maybe around 2000, if you wanted to buy a recharge card, you had to have good nails because you're going to buy a card that looks like the size of a computer, describing that. Okay. Now, if you move from that point, you move to the point where they give you a slip, that small paper. Then it moves to, an attempt at selling it in a digital manner. Okay, so you get VTU. And now, most of you, if you want to buy your recharge cards, where do you go to? Bank accounts. Okay, so let's think of something. I hope you know that all those things that you just mentioned were manned by people. It was somebody that was producing those cards, Abi. It was somebody that was distributing them. It was somebody that was getting it to you. Okay? The same thing with the paper. The same thing with the VTU. Now, even what you are doing now, the bank that you're using, the bank apps, is someone that is at the back end ensuring that it's working. But it's the same service. And so that's what we're trying to get you to think of today. You can't think of whatever career you are in, you have been in, or you are planning to go into from the perspective of what you have always known. Because if I ask everybody here to raise their phones, nobody's going to raise a 3310. You are adopting and aligning with change as it is moving. And you have to bring that to your career. Okay? And for you to be able to do that, you have to understand that right now, the career landscape is about the set of skills that you have. And I'm going to try and give examples, okay? Because I have people who work in my organization currently or in previous organizations where I've worked that don't hold university degrees, right? The person who works closest to me today earns net 525K. And she doesn't have a university degree, but she has a clear set of skills. So I'm not saying university degrees are bad. I'm saying that as long as you're applying as you should, in alignment with having what's important. Because if you put out an advert today, you will get hundreds of applications. And then when you get to the interviews, all they communicate. So what's your own skill stack? If you're going to take the first question from this session that we're having right now, is to ask yourself, if you're going to write anything down, it will be, what is my own set of skills? What set of skills do I have? You've got to spend time to know that. All right? Now, I'm not going to deep dive into that because I have 15 minutes, but obviously along the day, while other facilitators are speaking, you get more guidelines, and then during one-on-ones, you can get more on that. Okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is you have to also understand that what we define as work has changed. You know, if you ask someone now, oh, do you work in an office? What you think of is 9 to 5. All right? It has changed because you can either be a 9 to 5 person, and that's absolutely fine, or you can have a set of skills that you trade in for value. So let me give an example. I hope you know that there are some of those things that we used to enjoy in the past. You know, someone gave me a gift recently that is very amazing. Does anybody remember what they call kokoro? You remember kokoro, Abi? If you remember kokoro, raise up your hand. Don't people should not. You know dankwa now. You know those kind of things, right? Yeah. Now imagine receiving a box that contains those class of, nice treats, right? About 7 different ones, and I got that on my birthday. Now, those things when we used to have them, you could just buy them on the roadside. But this person has repackaged it and is selling it at a certain value. Okay? So if I use that as a skill, I can come and offer that skill to Madam A, Madam B, Madam C, but I'm not working for any of them. Okay? So we have to understand that there is that type of economy now. The fact that you are working does not necessarily mean that it has to be 9 to 5. Okay? Now, so and talked about, the infusion of technology in everything that we do. So, you know how we can be we like to adopt changes where it pays us. So when I asked everybody now, does anybody have a 3310? Obviously, nobody here has. Okay. If you talk about, oh, do you go outside and buy recharge cards? No, we do it from our banks. But you will still find people that don't want to ask ChatGPT questions. That thing can be a bit, just go and know all my secrets now and just tell somebody, what did they hack into? Some of you are still asking those questions. Those questions you're asking, they are fine. That's how you asked when they started mobile. That if I go and send my money, then it just stops at it doesn't get to Ikeja. Where they pay money to. Everybody has those fears. But guess, the earlier you mark that, and the better, because anyway, this institute thinks of you as very valuable people, right? Almost 6 decades, if not way more, of experience with them. But you can always leverage technology as well. Please, let me say to you, before you leave here today, while you are learning, pick up your phone and pick up any of the topics that anybody here speaks about and ask AI or ask any technology platform that is a research-based or a search-based platform and start to use it as well. Okay? So, very, very critical. Now, to move forward, I like what Pastor has said, that you have to be a lifelong learner. You have to embrace curiosity. The days that curiosity used to kill the cat has also died too. Do you understand? Because if you don't learn and if you don't infuse it as part of your day or as part of your own schedule, you're going to notice all of a sudden that you're just so far behind. One of the things that I like to do is that when I have the time on Saturday mornings, I look for what is not lost. I know most of you that are Yoruba people would have converted that in Abi. Yes. I look for what is not lost. I just get online and I'm just searching. I have diaries. I have an app called Microsoft OneNote. It's old, but it's full of stuff. Whenever I find something intriguing, I have Google Keep. I keep things. I just go and keep it there. One day is going to be useful. That's just exploring. You can now fine-tune that to maybe whenever you have something you're chasing towards, all right, along the lines of your career. You can fine-tune that and start to work towards that. But the point here is you've got to embrace learning. Okay? Now, in thriving, one of the things I've been doing more for me specifically, and if you think about the fact that I have been doing 9 to 5 work since 2007. I started working when I was 8 years old. Those are two separate sentences. Okay? As at the time that I was 11, I know for a fact I was managing my father's 3 drivers. That's how come I know so much about cars. I would offer my breakfast as motivation. So before HR started teaching me about employee retention, I used to use my breakfast to get drivers to do some things. You know? Now, one of the things I've been doing recently is that you see, when you do all of that and you have experience and you have deeper knowledge, you still need relationships. Okay? So develop them. Those relationships can be those above you, those at your level, or those below you. You know, in 2000 December, we're having a church program like this. Interestingly, someone was invited from Abeokuta to come and speak. There were no screens, obviously. Okay? And when he was done speaking, I was wondering to myself, only you, all this brain. So I stood at the exit gate and waited. You know, of course, when a main speaker is leaving, you know what used to happen back then now? You know, there will be plenty people. So I was just waving at the guy, hoping that he would see me. So he sees me and then he says, hello, nice performance. You did the dance choreography. Yeah. He says, sir, please, can I just see you? Can I learn a few things? So he said yes. And in our first conversation, he made me an offer and said that I'll have to read a certain number of books over a period of time if we're going to continue this transaction. And I agreed. Wasn't easy, but guess what? The version of Remy, before that person and after that person, stark difference. So it may be someone at your level. It may even be someone below what you will call your current social status, or it obviously can be somebody higher. But if anything, build strategic connections. Okay? Now, the last point here is something I said, build your T-shape. So let's break that down in very simple terms. The letter T, right? Where you understand that if this is the area I'm focusing on, I want to have deeper knowledge, and I also want to broaden my knowledge across things that are in and around that space. Okay? And this could be skills, this could be competencies. Very, very important. So for us as individuals, change is not going to stop. In fact, many of you here have embraced the fast-moving change, right? Let me remind us again with one more example. If I ask you, today, that if I give you this phone and we're in 1999, what would be the only thing you could do with a phone then?
I think just to take pictures or something.
Take pictures in 1999. The primary purpose of the phone was what?
Make and receive.
Make phone calls, Abby. How many of you suffered from the 10 text message storage? Like you couldn't have more than 10 text messages on your phone. You have to delete one. You know, some of you have those messages that one person said to you. You will keep that one, you'll be deleting the other 9. Mm-hmm. Okay, so today, right, if you almost wanted to watch anything at all, the first point of call is what? Your phone, right? So most of us have already embraced change in other parts of our lives. Let's just take that same thing and bring it to what? Our career. The same way you are looking forward to the next iPhone, the next Samsung, or not necessarily that the next iPhone because it's brand new, but the next one you want to use, right? It's the same way you should start to ask yourself, in my career, what obtains today? What will obtain in the next 1 year? What will obtain in the next 2 years, and then even more? Okay? So these are the ways I think you can thrive in this very rapidly moving career landscape. So thank you, everyone. I believe it's right about time. Thank you for the opportunity, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Can we give a round of applause again? Awesome. I believe we are beginning to get value for this event. Am I correct? All right. Now, the next session is even much more power-packed. We're going to have 4 panelists come up, and then they'll be speaking to you. I'd mentioned this earlier. They'll be speaking to you on career planning and career transitions. I'm going to say that again. Career planning and career transitions. Now, you see, the thing about events like this is they could determine the course of your life, but it is if you pay attention to it. Do you get what I'm saying? And I explained earlier, what does career planning means? How can you channel the path you want to follow? Are we together? Career transition simply means I want to move from where I am now. I want to do something else. How can I move? So we're going to have 4 panel members, 4 panelists who are going to come up. They would each speak for about 5 minutes each, thereabout, right? And then we'll also allow you to take questions. So you can then, maybe we can take up to about 3 or 4 questions. You know, if you have questions on what they have said, or you have burning questions regarding this topic. How do I plan my career? I think I want to be the next, Minister of Finance or something, right? How do I plan my career so that I get there? Or, like I said earlier, I'm currently doing customer service, but I want to do human resource. How do I move from customer service to human resource? Are we together? Are you ready for that session? No, your voice doesn't tell me you are ready. Are you ready for that session? Okay, great. So I'm going to, give you a brief introduction into who they are. Media, are we ready? This TV is not on. Media, please, can you help? This TV is not on. We're actually projecting from there as well. So I'm going to read as I read their profile, I would like you to give them a round of applause, and then they come up. If your clap is not loud enough, they will not stand up. That's the agreement. Your clap, you should be clapping that people in this neighborhood, that's one clap. People in this neighborhood will hear that something is happening here. Are you ready now? All right, so I'm going to introduce the first person. The first panelist is Dr. Adesoji Ogunsoya. You can come up, sir. Dr. Adesoji is a people management expert with worthwhile work experience in talent. You can go up, sir. Oh yeah, wait. He has gone up. Oh yeah, wait. I want you to hear, his profile. I want you to listen to his profile. So Dr. Adesoji is a people management expert with worthwhile work experience in talent management and workplace productivity. He has over 17 years working experience, which spans across management consultancy, insurance, and banking sector. He studied political science for his first and second degree at the University of Ilorin. Do you have any Uni-Ilorin graduates here? I know if it's great if I said, we'll see. We have a Uni-Ilorin. All right, awesome. Person actually will be Yetunde Akintoye. Can you give her a round of applause, please? That is not loud enough. It's not loud enough. All right. So Yetunde Akintoye is a seasoned human resources professional with over a decade extensive experience across a wide range of sectors, including the capital market, oil and gas, and consulting. In her current role as Group Head of Human Resource, she leads HR strategy and operations of 3 subsidiaries in real estate, agro-commodities, and financial services industries. Beyond her corporate responsibilities, Yetunde serves as the Director of Membership for HR Mentorship with over 7,000 HR professionals. She's an associate member of CIPM and a certified senior human resource professional. She's driven by a passion for mentorship, service, and delivering value in both our professional and community roles. Can I give her one more round of applause? All right, next person is Remy Fakumoju. I think I introduced him earlier. So please come up, sir. To save time, I will not read his profile again, just to save time. The last person joining us as a panelist on this session is Jimmy Mokikon. Sorry, just a minute. All right. So we're just going to go straight into the session. Like I said earlier, we'll be speaking on the topic career planning and career transitions, which also includes employment gaps, right? So each panel member, we're going to start from Mr. Jimmy Mokiko, would have 5 minutes to speak on the topic, right? Afterwards, we'll then take question and answer depending on, how the time permits us.
Good morning, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me. Good morning. So good to be here. I'm glad to see some of my very good friends that I've not seen in decades, and it's a privilege to also be on meeting new people. Interesting. I think I came in when Pastor Koya, right, was speaking. The last time I saw him was about 2003. And although technology has taken over quite a lot of things. We chat, we talk, but we just haven't seen, and I'm glad we're seeing today. So it's a privilege and it's a honor for me to be here. My name is Jimmy Mokikon. I've had the privilege of all I've done in my life is HR. Over 20 years. From school, I knew I was going to be HR, but HR was not my first love. I wanted to be a medical doctor. So when we were leaving secondary school, how many of us, okay, my generation now, there's something you used to call slum book or something. If you know slum book, let me see your hand. You can't know it. Only some people here would reckon. And I will always say I wanted to study medicine or business administration. And people always ask, what's the correlation between the two? There's absolutely no correlation. So medicine was my first love. However, my motive for wanting to study medicine was wrong. And God in his mercies decided, I'm not going to give you that desire. Maybe I would have been a quack doctor. Only God knows. So I didn't have quite a bit of a good relationship with my dad. And my dad studied business administration. He's also in the HR space. So by the way, my dad is HR. I'm HR. My sister is HR. So we have quite a so I begged my children, please don't do HR. So we didn't have quite, I'm trying to be very mild with the choice of words. We were best of enemies, right? So, and I knew that if I study a course that my dad knows something about. It will bring us together. So I needed something that could be as far as possible that he had no idea. And medicine was the only thing that I could think of. And that was why I really wanted to go for medicine. But God in his mercies, when JAMB show you, no, not even JAMB, I passed JAMB, but I just won't get admission for medicine. And then one day I borrowed myself brain and the first time that I put in for biz admin, I got admission and I studied business administration. And from day one, I was clear about what I wanted to do. And I'm one of the very privileged few in Nigeria that you choose a course and they give you that course. Many of us studied the course that we were offered, right? And so I was deliberate about assessing my strengths. What am I passionate about? What are those things that I could learn? So while I was in school, I made sure, I'll read books relating to HR, get to familiarize myself about things around HR and all of that. And then, of course, I left school, and then I had the opportunity of interview with an organization. And they were telling me, okay, we don't have HR. What do you want? My own beggar was a beggar that had choice, even though I was jobless at that time. I remember speaking with one of the biggest FMCGs, and they said they were going to offer me sales as a sales rep. They would give me a van and all of that. And I just couldn't picture myself driving a van and selling stuff. That what I want is HR. I want to impact lives. I want to be able to help people grow career-wise, and a whole lot that HR does, even though I wasn't so clear about, all of what HR entails. And then another company came and I was like, no, I wanted HR. And eventually I got it. And from that time till date, it's been HR for me. And I get to meet a lot of people. And sorry, I forgot the name now, but when he was speaking, spoke a lot about technology and a lot of, some few years ago, you and our parents will have to go to the banks and queue, get tally number before they can, get their money, not the money that the bank is borrowing them. And then technology evolved, and then you have stuff like at some point we started going to ATMs to queue, and then fast forward a few years, you have POS all around. And I keep telling people, POS would also soon go out, but some people think it's not true. You have your phone. In the near future, everything you are doing, you do it on your phone, and you won't have to go to POS and all of that. And so, whether your interest is in HR, whether your interest is in technology, you've got to first and foremost identify what are the trends, what's happening in that space. Network. I spoke about accessing your strengths. Know what your strength is. If you are good with numbers, maybe you might look for courses that will really enhance it. I hear people tell me that there are not too many HR people that like numbers, and it's strange because me, I like numbers. But if you know your strength is not in numbers, go and begin to build yourself, in aspects where you think numbers will not be required. So know what your strength is, understand what is happening, around your space. And then whatever passion you have, look at how there's something you call sweet spot, where your passion, where your skills, and then you're able to add your passion and skills together to deliver value to you. I know we'll still get to talk about quite a number of things, but I think that's my time, right? Thank you so much. Yeah.
Right, okay, good morning once again, everyone, and thank you for having me. So picking it from where you talked about numbers, well, while I was in school, I don't like mathematics. I'm sorry. I don't like math. But guess what? Now I'm doing metrics. I don't have a choice. I have to do not just metrics, I have to even draw it out, like, all those things that we did in geography that you'll be seeing, something as if you're drawing something. You have to do it right now. And that's where we are right now. Well, you're talking about, in school, you wanted to be a doctor. I think when every one of us were growing up, you always sing this song of who you want to be, and you'll be mentioning lawyer, doctor, it's easier to say until you get there, you now see that, oh, chemistry is dealing with people, or physics. That chased me off science class, and I went back to commercial. So, but here we are today, and we are talking about career gaps and transitioning. So let's even talk about, the career planning itself. I want you to see it as a journey, right? It's not something that, oh, because I'm planning about it, I have to take a leap now, at least from where I am, and get to that entrance. No, it has to be a step at a time, right? See it as though you are going to Ibadan. You definitely have to enter a bus to get there. Or else, maybe you have abracadabra there, you can, at least transition there immediately. But everything is about journey. Just take it one step at a time. What do I need to set? Is it a short-term goal? Is it a long-term goal that I need to set? What is your own short-term goal? Oh, I want to be reading at least 2 books per day, for a certain time, or maybe for 6 months, so I can build myself. I want to do a particular course now to meet what I'm currently doing, or long term. Oh, because I want to be a chartered accountant, mean that I have to also do ICANN, and then you are starting to plan for it. Oh, I just don't want to be an HR professional, but I want to be a certified one, right? Then you started planning towards getting CIPM or any other certification. Those are long terms. Or rather, you're saying, oh, because AI is now evolving, and now we currently have ChatGPT, I think 5.0 out already, right? And you're already planning towards maybe 10.0 or something. Like you are really looking towards the future and not just where you are right now. That is what we call career planning. And now we are talking about transitioning. I would say in 2010, I did start as an HR. So while his own first love was HR, my own first love was something around people though, but I did not have a fixed name for it. And it's really okay if you don't have a fixed name for what you love doing, right? I started as a customer, service person, but I love to provide solution. I love to be there. I see myself as, I can't say myself, maybe jack of all trades, not really do, but I love to be at where that problem lies. So I can, no, not that I want to give it a perfection, but I want to give it a try. So I can learn, just in case I'm going to make a mistake, but I'm going to get it better the other time, right? So I started there. And then I moved to become an admin person, right? So admin is still all about people in one way or the other. It's about solving problem now internally, not, you relating with clients to me, babe, all these things you're doing, it's more like aligning because you
by doing that, I'll be politically sound, I will be strong enough. Then Okadigbo, many of you know Okadigbo then. It was raining at that point, and I was thinking that this guy was a doctor of political science and he became the Senate president. So that means I'm on the right path. As I journeyed through my career, I realized that it doesn't really work that way. To cut the long story short, I find myself in HR, and I think it has been a very interesting journey. But one thing that is very clear, and I also want to share that with us, is we need to define what we want. There is this Latin term that says, "An take which is a very extra." That is, no man can seek himself outside himself. You need to sit down and look at yourself and ask yourself one deep question: what do I really want to do? And to even complicate this further, let's even assume that you have worked for 5, 10, 6, 7 years. And then after the 8th year or 10th year, you just realize that I'm not called to do what I'm really doing. And this is not what I really wanted to do. And then what comes in after that? Frustration, some will go into depression, you don't enjoy what you are doing again, you become actively disengaged in organization. So you ask yourself, what can I really do? At that point, you need to sit down with yourself and ask again, what really drives me? What motivates me? What am I passionate about? And how can I really get myself back into this track? And she said a lot about you trying to understand your strengths and weaknesses. I had a session with some young professionals a few months ago. We normally do it every year, I think January, February. And we try to set a SWOT analysis for ourselves. Of course, many of us know what SWOT analysis is. Your strength, threat, weakness, and opportunity. So we have to define that at the beginning of the year, that let's just define where we think our strengths are. What about our weaknesses? What are the opportunities around us? What in terms of networking, in terms of access to information, and so many other things. And then we also look at the threat. So we try to build on our strength and also look at the weaknesses. How can we actually enhance build our capability on those weaknesses? How can we learn? What can we really learn? My brother, when I came in, I was excited when he was talking about what is happening in the digital space. AI has changed a lot of things. At some point, they said that AI is going to take a lot of jobs. So ask yourself, apart from what you are passionate about, also ask yourself, what is the world passionate about? Because it's not just about you. And that speaks to adaptability. You need to be able to be adaptable to whatsoever is trending. It shouldn't be a kind of bandwagon effect that everybody is doing this. Let me also do it. But also ask yourself, okay, how can I get my own bite? I call it national cake. Don't mind my language. I have my own bite of this national cake in this career world. So those are the questions we should ask ourselves. And I believe that as we go on, as we also continue to engage other panelists here, there will be a lot of questions that will be answered. And I also want you to be open-minded. I think I also say this again. Be ready to unlearn certain things that you have learned. And that is where learning journey actually takes place. Just assume that you do not know anything. I love Socrates so much. I'm one of my great philosophers. He said that one thing I know, and that is I know nothing. Even at this stage, I still see myself as knowing nothing. I'm very open to knowledge. He mentioned certain things there. Especially when they talk about the digital, I was like, okay, I think I've picked something that I'm going to learn further from his own explanation. Thank you so much.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, again. So I think that a lot has already been said, so I'm going to try not to repeat what has been said. I would refer if I need to pick some points. And I think one of the most dominant thoughts that has come through already is that you need to examine yourself. Now, when you are doing that, is that you have to consider a number of things. Because when you're thinking about examining yourself for your career, what has been said already is that you do need to know the set of skills required for the career that you desire. Please, when you are doing that, also know that there are certain things that or ways of behaving, skills and competencies required to function in organizations. You see, a lot of people don't talk about that because that would also help you as you navigate your career. You have a lot of finished, educated graduates that are badly behaved in organizations. Okay, so I'm trying to stick to the areas that we haven't already covered so that we can have like a complete perspective. The last part, which has already, I think there are certain skills that you must always have because irrespective of whatever is happening in the world, they are sacrosanct. E.g., you have to communicate, right? So communication is important. Emotional intelligence is important, right? Leadership is important. If you want to lead through technology or without technology, those things are important. So in planning your career, you have to be able to have blocks of things you are looking at. One is what is required for your career today, what is required for you to even function in workplaces, what is required that you may call transferable skills. Yes, some part of it is transferable, some parts are almost like constant skills. You know, there's this thing that someone said recently about developing a new career with AI, which is prompting. And I said, it's not prompting, it's just communication. It's just being able to speak, okay? So please, let's bear that in mind with career planning. With career transitioning, I think that I started off my career as an executive assistant, then I did sales, then I did project management, then I moved into HR, I did L&D, and now I'm doing HR and business operations. Really, my current role is business operations. So you see that I've moved a bit, Abby, but I told you that I started working from 11. So, and I mean officially working, I would go and resume there after school. I will go there every day during holidays, morning till evening. Now, one thing that has helped is understanding that for you to be able to function effectively across roles, those transferable skills that they talk to you about, being able to analyze, have analytical thinking, right? Critical thinking skills. Somebody brings a problem to you. You don't focus on the problem, you focus on the solution, and you're able to come back and address what the root cause of that is. Stakeholder management, the desire to consistently learn, right? Because all of us are going to transition in some form or shape. You may just transition within your function, which is maybe HR, you go from L&D to OD, or you even become the director of HR. Or you now, again, like, you know, when they say the common story about HR having a seat at the table, you eventually are so skilled, you become CEO. Or you talk about the inter-role changes, right? Like I have done. So we all have to be prepared. Some of our changes will be forced by macroeconomic factors, right? There are people, I know you've read in the news the wars that are happening. Obviously, if whatever profession you had in Gaza, you would have had to take up something else in another country if you want to survive, okay? So just using that as an example. So it's important for us to understand that as we plan our career, taking in everything that has already been said, we also have to be conscious of those things that allows us to be able to pivot very, very quickly. I think that as career professionals, sitting with ourselves on a periodical basis is very, very important, you know, because that's when you are able to bring to bear everything that has been said here. I didn't even study HR, by the way, or I didn't study any of those things that I said I did. I studied accounting. The last time I practiced it was when I went to serve. When I was done serving, I just said to myself, what's the next thing? And what I would do is I would sit, what are the skills, and I would learn. YouTube is the biggest university. I think I've abused it. So I have a lot of skills that some I have certified for, some I have not certified for, but I learned the bulk of them on YouTube. So you can even learn for free. Really, well, no, YouTube is not free. You have to buy data. But you get what I'm trying to say with that. So I'm sure as we ask questions, we'll be able to get even more points. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Saz and Ma, for that. Thank you so much. That was so rich. Do we agree? All right, great. So because of time, we'd only take 2 questions, right? If we have a lot of questions, maybe we can just add 1 more question because of time. So if you have a question, can you please just raise your hand? Can you raise your hand? Questions around career planning and career transition so that we can take those questions and then we can go to the next session. If you have questions, can you please raise your hand quickly? Any questions on I want to move from here to there? Okay, I have one. Do we have 1 more person? All right, good. So we have 2 questions. So please come forward, sir, because of the camera and those online. Can you please come forward? Just tell us your name and then your question.
So actually want to know what are the signs to show one that you are in the wrong path career-wise. What are the signs you'll be seeing along the line that, oh, I think I need to switch?
Thank you.
Okay, I think for me, One thing is very important: clarity of purpose. Clarity of purpose. The moment I can no longer see myself in purpose, then I have to assess everything beyond just career, assess my friendship, assess my engagement and all that. Because sometimes we think we're in a wrong career, but it might be a case of you not actually applying yourself and seeing opportunities, that exist in that place. When I started HR, I wanted to do learning and development, but the opportunity that came was for recruitment and selection, which is like the basic where everybody starts. Now, I could easily have said, you know what, I feel I'm in a wrong space and all of that. I was doing it. And then I was looking for opportunity around learning and development. And I know the easiest place for me is in the same organization. So fortunately, all our trainings, most of our training happen weekends. So I just walked up to the head of L&D and I said, oh, since it's weekend, I will be supporting and all of that. As God would have it, there was an expansion. Now the head of L&D was moved outside of the country, and then the person who was assisting then became the head of L&D and needed somebody. And by default, they just moved me into that role. So while you think you are in a wrong profession, my advice is always ensure you deliver value, add value, and then look for opportunities. But first and foremost, like I said, clarity of purpose. Clarity of purpose. If you can understand that, then it will help you to put a lot of things in perspective.
So I will share mine not from my own experience, but as an HR to another person from an organization. So I have a staff that she's very good with compliance, right? So but that was when I was still in the stock exchange. She's very good with compliance. But I noticed that, whenever we do appraisal, it's always more like there's a lacuna somewhere. So I have a discussion with her, like, what's happening? Is there been distraction? It's just because I wanted to even work with her, right? So I get to give her a bit of space that, okay, based on this, do this and do that, and let's see what's going to, work out. So this is more like I'm working with her, in her career because I want her to get better. I've seen that potential in her. She might not have seen it by herself, but I noticed that and I want to work it with her. So she started going up more like, okay, visit the registrars and a few other things. And she will come back, the changes is not so much. So what let me mention a name, T. Hope you don't mind. We do a little job rotation. Like, I notice you have strength. Whenever another department calls you to do something for them, you do it perfectly, as in effortlessly. So I said, okay, do you mind me taking you to that department? Just work there for like 3 months, and then we can come back here and then we, assess ourselves. Guess what? She went to that department, and whenever we do appraisal, the minimum she always have is more like 90%. And I was like, okay, there's a drastic difference. What is it? She has clarity, but it's not clear enough to her. There's other strengths, and when I was talking about competence, what you love to do most, she has it, but she's not aligning with what she's currently doing, and she's not really seeing herself in it. So I called her back. Tell me the difference in where you were before and where you're at right now. Guess what the response was? I think I can find myself right now. I saw what I have, and I can apply it to where I'm currently at. It seems it's not fitting well where I was before, and we're able to maintain her there and get somebody that also loves what she does from the other side and transfer that person there. And with that, she's able to do well. At the long run, she was promoted as a team lead. And she's not just team lead, because before you also select a team, you have to look at other competency, leadership, few other things. She has it. It's just that she's not utilizing it in her previous role. So for you to say that maybe you're not in the right profession, just like he said, clarity and purpose. It's also not a wrong thing if you are not that clear. You think it's clear to you, but to other person to also get external feedback. How do you think I am doing? What do you think I can do better? Where is the things that you think you are seeing that I am not seeing myself? You get the feedback and you do better. So my own is be open for feedback. Also, plan yourself better. So that's what I was saying.
All right. It's gone. All right. Okay. Just to add to that, I mean, he spoke about purpose, which is very, very key. I mean, understand if you feel there's that sense, that drive is no longer there, I mean, that might be a signal, but that is not the ultimate. Never rush out of a career because you felt it's not for me. You know, just still have that uh, allowance to really assess and see, because there's something we call competency circle. You know, it goes from unconscious incompetence to an unconscious competence. And that circle can go for 2 years for some people, 6 months for some people, 1 year. So you need to understand that so that you don't jump and you go to another place and you feel that this place is not also for me. And you go to another one, then that leads to frustration. And ultimately, that leads to career funeral.
All right, thank you very much for that response. Okay, we'll take the next question now. Okay. So we have just 3 minutes to respond to this question because we're actually behind time already. Your name and then your question.
My name is Salami Oluwatosin. I'm a student of accounting, UNILAG. He said something about loving numbers. I love numbers. I think when I was 5, I love numbers. I do maths of SS3 students at GS1 then. So growing up in life, all my experience, I've not really had an experience in numbers. I've gone back, I've checked my CV, but I really want to have an experience in number and have an additional professional course in numbers. How can I do it?
Okay, so just to clarify, did you say you're a student? Okay, so you want to interact with numbers more, right? I'm going to take it from 2 sides. The first one I'll tell you, because you can give someone fish and then you can tell the person, or you can tell the person how to fish. So the first thing I will tell you is, you see those things we were talking about earlier, right? You're going to ask AI. You will give a summary of what you currently do. And then you will say you want to interact with more numbers more in your career. And so you have something you're going to explore. So that's the first part. The second part is, if you're a student of accounting, you're already interacting with numbers. Does that satisfy you enough? You want more. So maybe then you want to, 1, take some assessments, because it's not only in accounting that you deal with numbers, right? I hope you know that some of the guys that work behind technology also deal with numbers. Machine learning and all those also deal with numbers. And your presentation tells me that you have the capacity to learn a lot. If you are solving SS something maths at GSS1, do you want to expose yourself more to other things that would, allow you to interact with numbers, okay? So, like I said, 1 is take some career assessments. There are things like career tests and all those things online. Answer all their questions. See where it points you at. What are the kind of careers it's pointing you at? And then we can then talk about, okay, what skills are required for each of those careers, okay? Your kind of question is not I'm going to give you 2 paracetamol, take it twice, 3 times daily kind of thing. It's something that requires a deep dive, but it's important to let you know that accounting is not the only way for you to interact with numbers. However, accounting in itself is also deep enough, because accounting has different facets. So in your exploration, you can explore even deeper, right? So you have those who do from audits to normal accounting, your payables, receivables, you've got, your management accounting and all those different facets of accounting, right? You also even have people who are experts at deploying accounting software, what people call ERPs, enterprise resource planning softwares. And for those people, you have like 2 different specializations. So you have the functional guys who are just plain accountants that help you in deployments, and then you have the technical guys that combine the accounting and technical information to customize software, but they also need numbers as well. So you see, you are still at the exploratory stage, so enjoy it. What level are you? 100, 200, 300, 400, 200, fantastic. You know what? Go on a learning journey for the next 6 months. Don't be in a hurry to find the answer. Be in a hurry to learn and to explore. And if you find suggestions about careers that you can take, right, go on YouTube, okay? If you mention anything about a career and you find a competency, there is something called Simply Learn. So simple, but remove the E, change it to I. Simply Learn, or Edureka, Education, EDUREKA. Those 2 channels have 10, 5, 6, 7 hours of videos on several competencies. Go and watch the first 2 hours. If you are not bored after 2 hours, you are still on the journey. If you're bored, try something else. Now, I'm not saying that the moment you are bored, you should drop it all. I'm just saying that look out for all the pointers. Okay. So explore, learn, and enjoy it for now. Don't be in a hurry to stop yourself. Because all of what I said about myself earlier, I didn't tell you that I do design or I do this or I do that. Everybody here, seated here, are all multi-skilled. Okay. So take your time, explore, find as many options. Okay. Don't be in a hurry. And it's okay to look like you're doing so many things. That's what the world needs to as we move forward. Okay. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Can we give them a round of applause, please, as they go to take their seats? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. How has it been so far? How's it been so far? I can't hear you. Very interesting. Thank you. Any other feedback? I've heard interesting. Huh? How has it been so far? Good. All right, great. So the next session we are going into now is very, very pivotal in you getting a job. In our world today, if you don't have this, it will most likely be difficult for you to get a job. The irony of it is like somebody that wants to eat but doesn't know how to cook. And let's assume that you can't buy food. So how can you eat if you can't cook? Is that possible? If you can't use child deck or use, right? So now, when you want to get a job, one of the most important things, who can guess? CV. Thank you. Now, let me ask you. Let's do quick feedback, right? How many of us here, I'm being sincere, you're in the house of God? We're not in the days where people used to fall down if they lie. We're not in those days again. But don't tell lie, all right? How many of you can actually write a CV yourself, like a very good CV? Raise your hand. Let me see. I'm noting you will do tests. You write CV today. Why did you not put your hand down? Because I said you do tests. Okay, good. We have 3 people out of this large congregation. All right. Now, by the end of this session, I'll take that same assessment again, and you'll see the result, right? So the next session basically is going to let you know how to write a CV. We're calling it the CV clinic, all right? Now, I'm going to introduce to you quickly who the facilitator is. Or who wants to tell us her name? Do you know her name? I already told you if it's a he or a her. All right, so let me just quick introduction. Her name is Ugoji, right? Ugoji, the career specialist who believes every career story deserves a beautiful ending, right? Like, how did they used to say that in? Something ever after, right? Happily ever after, yeah? So she believes that every career story deserves a beautiful ending. So that by the time you look at a career, you say, oh, like your career, you look at how you've gone, now say, oh, right? Beautiful ending. With an MBA earned with distinction and a heart full of passion for people's success, Ugoji has worked alongside over 500 professionals as they transform their careers. What started as a calling to help others has blossomed into a beautiful practice of changing lives, one career at a time. Ugoji doesn't just write CVs, she crafts stories. She doesn't just prep for interviews, she builds confidence. A gentle yet powerful approach has helped 9 out of every 10 clients land the roles they dreamed about. From career changers feeling lost to returners finding their spark again, Ugoji has a unique ability to see potential where others see obstacles. More like you're meeting a doctor, right? Your career doctor, right? So bring out your symptoms. Do you understand? Our clients often say she has this magic way of helping them discover their own worth. Victoria, you must learn how to sell yourself. She tells them, not in a pushy way, but the warmth of someone who truly believes in workshops or having those life-changing one-on-one conversations. Ugoji brings the same energy, genuine care, wrapped in strategic wisdom. From our roots in microbiology to our mastery of human potential, Ugoji's journey proves that the best careers aren't built, they are grown with patience, purpose, and the right person cheering you on. Can we please a round of applause welcome Ugoji Obi? Sorry, just before Ugoji goes, apologies, just before she goes, just a quick announcement. If you need career counseling, maybe with any of the panelists, please, you need to see me so I can note you. All right? Thank you. Please, a round of applause for her again.
Good morning, everyone. I've been watching everybody, ever since this session started, and I noticed that some people are not jotting anything. I already have a full page of what I've been jotting from the various speakers and panelists. I mean, this is a free session and people pay money. I have these kind of sessions with people one-on-one and I know how much I charge. So the fact that you are having this for free is a very big privilege and I think you should make the best out of it. Okay, so Mr. MC, you murdered my name. So my name is Ugochi. My name is Ugochi Obi. And I'll just be talking to us about the CV. Like you said, if you want to apply for a job, you need a CV, whether it is a live CV, a virtual CV, or a document. Regardless, you need something that will speak for you when the recruiter or the hiring manager is, trying to check if you meet what they are looking for or not. So I'm sure we all know what a CV is, right? Did anybody come here with their CV? Did you come with your CV? Okay, maybe we'll use your CV to practice. All right, for your CV to shine, most of the speakers kept referring to many years ago, so let me follow that part. Many years ago, I think it doesn't matter what you have on your CV. A lot of CVs, if you go back maybe 15, 20 years ago, you will see information that today are not relevant. Who can give me an example? What do you say? Age, okay. Hobbies, well, hobbies is, okay, I'll accept it. Skills, is it relevant now? It's relevant. I'm talking about the ones that used to be on CV and are no longer relevant on the CV today. Religion, thank you. Date of birth, okay. Marital status, yes. Some people still put their football club on their CV. Yes, so I've seen. Yes, some people still do that. Some people put their local government of origin. Maybe 15 years ago, that was okay, but today it's no longer relevant. All the speakers have talked about how the world is evolving. So what we want to see on your CV is how you are also evolving in your career as things change. So we are looking at the things not to include on your CV. Like somebody said, religion. We don't care your religion. Can you do the job is what the recruiter is after. So nobody wants to know whether you're an idol worshiper or you're a Christian. It's not really relevant. What we want to ascertain is this person suitable for that job? So maybe unless you are applying to a religious organization, then probably that may be relevant. But aside from that, it's really not relevant to include on the CV. And one of the reasons is that if you include all these irrelevant things, your CV will become too bulky. Somebody sent me a CV last week for a role that I was helping out to screen CVs, and I saw 6 pages. And I was like, why? And when I opened the CV, most of the information there are just things that are not relevant. So whoever is looking at the CV will get bored. A recruiter will not spend more than maybe 5-6 seconds scanning through. So you don't want somebody scanning through your CV and the first thing they see is your place of birth, your local government of origin, your football club. They'll get bored and they'll just move on to the next CV. So anything that is not relevant to what you're applying for, just don't include it on the CV. That's the summary. So what are those things that are not relevant? We have mentioned them. So as long as you can take them out, then your CV will be concise, maybe 1 page or 2 pages max, which is mostly the standard. If you have a lot of experience, maybe we can go with 3 pages, right? But for most of us, is there anybody here that has like 15 years experience? Aside from our garden here, is there anybody here that has up to 15 years? Exactly. So your CV should not be more than 2 pages. Everybody here is a young person, so I don't see any reason why your CV should be more than 2 pages. So leave it at 2 pages. If you take out all these things that I mentioned, if you have your CV here, just start writing it down. If you take out all these things, trust me, your CV will enter 2 pages. So let's go on to another thing, unprofessional formatting. Who knows what formatting is? We all can use laptops and computers. Is there anybody here that cannot use a computer? So we can all use computers, great. So who knows what formatting is? Formatting. Font size, okay, good. What else? Say it. The arrangement, thank you. Okay, so your formatting has to do with, the name sounds very big, don't worry, it's what you know. Just leave all those names. Formatting is just, you know, when you are on your phone, if you open, so for some people, they use WPS. We all use WPS, right? Exactly. And you are typing. The text usually have one kind of style. That's formatting. So when you're writing a CV, don't just use any, because you say, this style is so fine, let me use it. You have to use a very, very simple style. Most of the time, you know, you'll be told to use styles like Times New Roman, Arial, and those ones that are very, very simple. But any style that has design, leave it for graphics designers. It's not for your CV, right? So that's formatting. There are some people that maybe in their head, they like design and they're writing a CV. I mean, you can write your CV yourself. That's good. All my life, I've written my CV myself, but that's story for another day. So there are some people who, maybe because they like design, when they write their name, you know, your name will be at the top of the CV. They use a certain style, let's say Times New Roman, and then they come to the summary, they use another style, and then they come to the content, and then they use a different style. That's inconsistent formatting. Any style you want to adopt, that style has to go from top to what? To bottom. It helps you to maintain consistency. Even the size. You see some people, one part is too big, one part is a little bit big, another part is too small. That's inconsistency. The only thing on your CV that should be bold or big are headings or subheadings. Anything aside from that, use standard size of maybe 10, 11. Like, I'm even saying 10, like that's even the lowest. So between 10 and 12, when it's above 12, it becomes too big and your CV will exceed 2 pages. If it goes below 10, it becomes too small. Not everybody uses glasses like me. Some people can look at your CV and they can't read what is there because it's too small. And maybe because of their size. So if the content is too small, what will you do? Even if somebody sends you a CV and you look at it and the size is too small, will you read it? Exactly, you will not read it. So some people make their CV text so small, and when I ask why, they say, so that all my information can enter my CV. But the problem is that the person receiving that CV may not be able to read it. And you don't know who is going to receive your CV. So don't assume that, and maybe they are using computer to look at it now. That's not for you to assume. So as the owner of the CV, you have to ensure that your CV is well written. So the formatting is very important. Like I said, the style and the size. Did you get that? The size and the style. Okay, good. So now that we have understood that, somebody asked me, oh, what about colors? Can I use like colors? I say, Even if you want to use colors, just make it one. You're not a graphics designer. For even graphics designers, most times they have something else they use to assess them in addition to their CV, which they call a portfolio. So if you want to include colors on your CV, maybe just one color. Normally, most of the texts are black, right? And some people begin to change those colors. I don't know why, but you don't need it. Maybe the heading of your CV, which is your name. If you still write CV and write curriculum vitae, you are in 1970. We have left you, this 2025. Your name should be the heading of your CV. So maybe you can use a mild color, not a color that is, I don't even know what to use to describe it, but use a color that is bold and not too loud. right? And yes, and I think that's okay. There are some people who maybe, as a matter of fact, there are a lot of applications these days. I'm sure we have some of them on our phones that can help you create a CV. But the thing with that is you must understand, okay, let me deviate a little bit. Most of the speakers spoke about AI. If you're using AI to draft a CV, it's really very good. I mean, I use AI to draft CVs, but you must be the one in charge and not AI. AI is like garbage in, garbage out. Anything you give AI, that's what it will give you back. Regardless of the AI, please, there are many AIs aside from ChatGPT. I can't even remember the last time I used ChatGPT, but I use AI every freaking day. I use AI to prepare these slides that you are looking at. It's AI that did it for me. And it didn't take me up to 30 minutes to do that with AI. So I have different AIs I use for different things. So don't limit yourself to ChatGPT, right? But regardless of which AI you are using to prepare a CV, make sure you know what you want your CV to look like, the kind of message you want your CV to pass. AI doesn't know you, right? AI doesn't know you. So the information you give to AI is what AI will send back to you. So for example, let's say you're a customer service representative and you have experience. You have to tell AI what you have done as a customer service representative. Then AI can help you, align it properly. If you don't do that, AI will just give you what it gives to everybody. And the recruiter will be seeing 5 people having the same CV because everybody copied and pasted the same thing from AI. Recruiters, we see it all the time. You will just see like 5 CVs saying the same thing. You will not be wondering, are they related? Because they gave AI the same thing and AI gave everybody the same thing. So you must personalize whatever you are including on your CV. It's very important. Okay, so what are those components of a strong CV? Of course, your contact information is very important. There was one time last year we were doing a recruitment and we sent an email to this candidate and the email kept coming back. So me, being the kind of person that I am, I just said, let me even call this candidate. And then I called her and she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I think the email is not correct. So she puts, maybe it was not on purpose, right? But what was on her CV was a wrong email. Recruiters see this all the time. But guess what? There's a lot of work the recruiter is doing. Not many people will now start calling everybody that has wrong email to tell them there's something wrong with the email you put up on your CV. So what am I saying? Your contact information is very important because that's how the hiring manager or the recruiter will get back to you. So your phone number and your email, double check. We are humans, yes, we can make mistakes, and that's why there is room to double check. If you cannot do it yourself, give it to somebody that knows you to help you double check your phone number and your email. And there is this information I like to tell people to include on their CV, which is their LinkedIn profile. You can just put a link. Is anybody here on LinkedIn? If you're not on LinkedIn, we have left you behind though. Whether you're a student or not, or you are working or you're a business owner, LinkedIn is the professional platform to be. When Pastor was speaking, he mentioned it, that he was looking someone up on LinkedIn and all that. So what are we waiting for? As we are talking now, just go and be creating profile. The job I'm currently doing, I got it from LinkedIn, and it's an international job. And I got it from LinkedIn. So if you're not on LinkedIn, you are missing out. So I always encourage people to include the link to their LinkedIn profile on their CV. Let me tell you why that is important. Most other candidates, especially people who maybe they don't take their LinkedIn very seriously, they will not include it. Now, that will give you an advantage. Make sure that link is clickable. So if a recruiter clicks it, it just takes them straight to your profile. So they will see something on your profile that other candidates don't have, and it gives you an edge. So yes, it's important to include that. It makes your CV, or it's one of the things that makes your CV strong. Okay, so another thing you should include on your CV is the summary or objective. Well, some school of thought believe that it is not relevant. But hey, we're in Nigeria, and let me just bring things home. You can include a summary or an objective session. Just make it brief. Don't write the 500-word essay under your summary. It's not relevant. Just keep it like, let's say 3 sentences max, but it summarizes who you are in terms of your career. Some people say, my name is Ugochi, I'm from Imo State. I'm the 3rd born of my family. That's not career summary. That's your bio data. Nobody wants to know that at that point in time. So your career summary should be such that it is very brief. It summarizes what you've done in your career in the last few years that you have worked. Or let's say you're a fresh graduate. Do we have fresh graduates here? Fresh graduates. You're a fresh graduate. Okay. So let's say you're a fresh graduate. You have not really worked. You don't have experience, right? So what do? You might not have a career summary. You can have an objective. So an accounting graduate from University of Ilorin looking to or seeking a role in human resources where I can apply my expertise or my knowledge or my academic background, in people management, in HR operations, something like that. So you just use where you are coming from, which is your first degree, and create an objective to show where you want to be because you are fresh out of school. So this is very important because whoever looks at your CV sees somebody who knows where they are going to or where they want to be. So that's also an important section. If you have experience, your experience section is very, very important if you're someone who have experience. Some people put their experience section as the last section on their resume, on their CV. Please, if you have that kind of CV, correct it. Because you're an experienced person, that's what the recruiter wants to see first. So bring it up. It should be on the first page and not the last section. That should be the thing that once anybody sees community service and any other thing that can serve as experience. Then skills. Everybody has talked about skills. Skills is very important, whether it is soft skills or technical skills. Very important. You must include skills. Skills can be anything. It could be your strengths, it could be your competencies. But yeah, it is very important to include that on your CV. Then there are other things to include. Somebody mentioned hobbies. There are different schools of thoughts to that. If you are a well-experienced person and you're applying for a job, you might not need to include hobbies, right? But if you're fresh, you're entry level, and you have hobbies that aligns with what you're applying for. Imagine you're applying for a personal assistant and you now put hobby sleeping. Can you see the disconnection? Exactly. So you need to pick hobbies that aligns with what you are applying for. If not, don't even include hobbies. Just leave it out. There's really no point. So all of what I've said will help you transform your CV from weak to strong. Because you need a strong CV. It's a competition. What did you study? Nursing. So by the time have you started applying for jobs? You're doing your internship, great. By the time she's done with her internships and she starts applying, do you know how many schools in Nigeria that graduate nurses? So that job she's applying for, 1,000 other nurses are also applying, and they all have bachelor's, and which one? Okay. And at least 90% of them have the certificate and the qualification that she has. So what will make her own application different? Some of these things that I've mentioned is what will help her, of course, including her internship. So there's something called the CAR method: challenge, action, and results. So you use this to showcase your achievements. It's mostly under your experience section. Each experience should have some form of achievement, whether you put it as a sub-session or you put it just directly under your experience, regardless. Talk about something that happened, what you did, and what was the result. It could be in terms of numbers, percentages, any kind of metrics. Just use it to quantify, that particular experience you are trying to talk about. What this does is that it turns your experience into a compelling story. That's what it does. And this is something that I like to tell people. So whoever is reading your CV, there is this excitement and enthusiasm. I want to meet him or I want to meet her because their CV, is just telling a story. So what all of this means is that on your CV, you have to highlight your strengths. If you do all of what I've said here, I'm done. No, if you do all of what I've said here, you will see your CV shine amongst other ones because it will highlight your strength. You don't have to write out every single thing you did in the job. It's not necessary. And that's why I said focus on achievement. Just pick out three to five bullets of achievements that you got from that role or in that role. And of course, tailor it to what you're applying for. Then finally, they've said it all here. Learn to connect. You are here today. Some people, when they finish, they'll just start going home. Networking is very, very important because you don't know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. And just because you are able to build good connections with people, you will find yourself, of course, with the right skills that you have, you'll find yourself, being privileged in places where you never imagined you have access to. So yes, in addition to having a very good CV, you have to learn to network. But for that to happen, you need to have very good communication skill. Communication is not something that you stop learning. You have to continuously learn. I was talking to a younger relative, and she was telling me, oh, I want to learn how to talk like you. And I told her I was not born like this. Me too, I learned it. Every day is an opportunity to learn. And thank God, we all have phones now, which makes learning way more easier. Somebody mentioned YouTube. YouTube is the best university in the world because even what they are teaching you in the class, I did it when I was in the university. I studied microbiology, and they were teaching us about ATP. And I was like, what are these people talking about? And what did I do? I went on YouTube. Back then, it was BlackBerry that was raining. And my classmates would be asking me, how did you know it? YouTube. So by the time I watched 2-3 videos, everything becomes clear. So all of what I've said here, you will find it on AI, you'll find it on YouTube, but it's very important that you have a strong CV because it is only a strong CV that will help you get the kind of job, that job in your mind that you think will pay you 6 figures or 5 figures or whatever figures you have in mind. It's only a strong CV that will help you get to that point. All right, okay, I think my time is up. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Ugochi, for that. I'm sorry I murdered your name earlier. All right, so I know you may have questions on CV. However, because of time, we'll not take that now. There's a networking session that we have where you will have the opportunity to meet with the amazing HR consultant and panelists we have. You can ask them any questions you want. Do we get that? So we have that time where you can meet with them, you can bond. Maybe there's someone there that you've admired all along. You have the opportunity to speak with them. So ensure you utilize the opportunity properly, okay? Next session we are going in now is side hustles, moonlighting, and international remote work opportunities, right? I know everybody wants this. I'm already seeing someone smile and say, now wait for be this one, right? So side hustles, just to sort of give you an insight, you are doing your 9 to 5, and you have something by the side that's also bringing you income. The people that sell wig, and their wig is paying them more than their 9 to 5, right? So there are things like that, your side hustle. Also, moonlighting is you have a job, but then you have another job. Sometimes, anyways, don't worry, I'll allow them just give you insights into it. Then there's also remote work. Remote work is the one where you're at home, you are working, you don't have to go to the office, no Lagos traffic, no conductor is abusing you, right? You want that, right? So this session, we are going to have, it's also a panel session as well. So we have each person speak on the topic for about 5 minutes, right? And then we now then take another 5 minutes for questions, right? So for this, we have 4 panel members as well who will be speaking on this. So I'm going to bring them up. As I won't do introductions this time because we already know them. So please ensure that as I call their names, you give them a round of applause. Are we good on that? If you know clap well, they no go stand up. Oh. Do we agree? Okay. All right. So the first panelist that will be going up is the last person that just spoke, right? And that's the amazing Miss Ugochi Obi. Can you please welcome her? Thank you. Thank you very much. The next person is Dr. Adesoji Ogunsoya. Can we have that louder? Can we have that louder, please? And the last person that'll be joining that panel is Jimmy Mokikon. This your clap, no loud. All right, so like we said earlier, each of them would have 5 minutes to speak on the topic. And then afterwards, if you have a question on that, maybe what website can I find remote jobs, and things like what are laws that guide moonlighting and things like that, we can then take such questions. So I'm going to start with Mr. Jimmy Mokiko. You don't want to go first? No, she just finished speaking, that's why. Or we can start with him, actually, if that's fine. All right.
All right. Okay. Thanks so much. Thank you so much for that beautiful session. Okay. So, side hustle, moonlighting, and international remote work opportunities. Let me start by saying where I work. I work in a Big Four, and we seriously frown at moonlighting, but I will just speak generally. So moonlighting is when you have another job, apart from your regular job. And there are some regulations that kick against it, especially you need to understand where you work. There are some organizations that won't mind you working and then also moonlight, while others have a very strong sanctionable offense when you eventually get yourself involved in such. Like my organization, we don't allow such. But I know quite a number of people that are also doing it. My former life, while I was in the bank, quite a number of our IT guys that are really doing that because of the nature of their job. And again, it got to a time when I was the head of recruitment in one of the banks. We had to come to a level where we have to give some allowance to some IT guys, because it got to a time you couldn't even afford those guys, can't attract them anymore. Someone with 2 years IT experience will tell you that he's going to earn 600, 700,000, 800,000, 900,000. And when you look at what the person is earning, how do you attract? And of course, that particular role, the role you want to fill is actually mapped maybe for 300, 400. So you have to come to a conclusion, okay, just come to the office, 3 times a week, or 2 times a week. And then you can also do some side hustle to cover up. And of course, they embrace it. You realize that you're able to attract them that way. They said, okay, I only come twice. So my work is project-based. Let me know what I'm going to do, and then I'll just do it for you. I deliver within the time speculated. And of course, I can still do several other jobs. It's just a way of trying to manage your talent. The world has gone beyond that stringent model that you must do this 9 to 5, you must appear physically. You will not get talent. In fact, you get people that will not, frustration will be higher. So it's all about fluidity of career adaptability. And that also speaks more to the organization that you find yourself currently. But if you are not working, this can work more for you. You can actually, there are some organizations, especially offshore, that you can actually work for them. You can have 2 or 3 of them at the same time, without nurse, and they won't raise any issue about you having some side hustle. But I'm not against side hustle. It's a great thing. It's something that everybody should look up to, because your salary cannot take you home, basically. And if we solely depend on 9 to 5 in this, our economy, I'm telling you, you really have to rethink. If not for anything, think about your retirement, plan, because no matter how long you work, 10, 15, 20, 30, 35 years, you will still fall back to that retirement path. And somebody once told me that, look, the best time to start your retirement, to plan for your retirement, is the first day you get your job. That your first job offer should be the time you should plan your exit. That when am I going to leave this job? And that also speaks to how long do I want to give to myself when it comes to this career. So you can think of side hustle, but be very careful. Think of side hustle that can actually graduate into towards retirement if you are eventually getting closer to that level, so that you can flow in seamlessly, but don't jump out of it. Don't do the one that will eventually take you out of a current job, because that could be frustrating. You will realize that you might not find it easy. So just make sure that you do this systematically, understand what you are getting into, understand the regulation that governs the organization when it comes to moonlighting and side hustle. If it's going to run contrary to the ethics, maybe as a result of conflict of interest, it will affect your performance, it will affect your job deliverables, is a no-no, because I mean your primary assignment is job you are doing currently, and those are the people that pays your salary, But if the organization allows it, I mean, just do it discreetly in such a way that it won't affect your job. And another thing about side hustle, like I said, it speaks to your passion. Don't also go into things because everybody is going into it. Don't feel that, if somebody comes to you that this is what I'm doing as side hustle and it's giving me $10,000 or $1,000 extra a month. I mean, look at it critically. Don't just jump into it and think that, okay, this is the way to go. Try to study it. I mean, look deeply into it. Do some kind of an assessment about, make your research about all those things so that you don't get your fingers burnt, because some of them will even come with some level of investment. You have to make some commitment, and so that you don't eventually lose your money. So think very well. I mean, make sure that you're a thinking camper. Don't just jump into things because everybody is doing it. And again, I will say again and again, understand the organization. If you are working, understand the ethics that govern such in the organization. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Doctor. And I think he's quite, Dr. Ogunsoya has been very spot on. I think one of the most important things is that understanding of your organization. I know of companies that will never allow it. And I'll be surprised if any of the top 4, allow that to happen. Because there's a lot of demand on your time and some things. However, part of the employee value proposition that some of us also sells out is we tell people, bring your side hustle to the office. So I'll give you a typical example. One of the banks I used to work for, we have a guy who we found out that he's a DJ, right? So any event we want to run in the organization, we ask him to come and do it. Now, it is clear that there is no conflict of interest. So whatever side hustle, whatever you are moonlighting and all of that, there must be no conflict of interest. How can conflict of interest come when you are moonlighting? By the time your performance begins to drop on the job because you are attending to another guy. I know our labor law is outdated, but dual employment is actually against the labor law. But technology has advanced, and especially in the IT space, to keep those guys is very tough. I still spoke with one in the course of this week who says, I'm earning in dollars, but I can still take on your job, but of course, conversations, and you need them. So that's why you cannot outrightly say you will rule it out. So if your side hustle, whatever you call it, I don't like the word hustle, by the way, but yeah, so if that's the language everybody understands, there must be no conflict of interest. Now, I did a bit myself. I have a love for, and I spoke about sweet spot earlier. So when Uber was coming into Nigeria, one of the things I did, I love driving. In fact, I used to see myself when I was younger racing in Formula One. So I love speed. I used to do like 180 before I got married. After I got married, I've reduced it to 160 now. So, and my family, when they're in the car now, they just sleep. They've forgotten about, and there's a joke I usually tell them that, I have angels on guard and all of that. And then one day, one of the angels just tapped me and said, bros, stop, I need to get out. Even his own life is not safe. So I envisage myself in that Formula One. So I have a passion for driving. Do I have the skills for driving? I think to some extent, at least within my own space, yes. Now, how can I bring value into my passion and my skills? So when Uber came, I then registered as a partner. I wanted to have cars on Uber. Now, I'm in HR in the banking space. There is no conflict. So before giving out to say, guys, I want to hire drivers, I needed to understand the model. So I was driving on Uber myself. When I cross from work, on my way home, I pick. And at the end of the month, I was making good money. And eventually, I was able to hire a few drivers who were driving for me. And in the course of hiring one of the drivers, I saw that this guy would actually do more than an Uber driver, a graduate and all of that. Today, that guy is the HR manager of a company, of a financial, of a bank, right? From that Uber space. So basically for me, I did it, and a few people in my office know, but I was always careful that at least when you want to request for me, I would have driven away from my office and all of that. So if you have things that you can do, if you have things that some other people can run for you, you can run it, but try as much as possible to avoid that conflict, because when that conflict happens, it is us that we meet at the panel, and we will not tamper justice with mercy. We will go by the books. That's HR people for you, right? So, and then when it comes to international opportunity, open up yourself. You've seen YouTube, you've seen LinkedIn, apply, just network. One of the reasons I joined an organization was because they are present in about 14 countries. And I needed to also build network. So it wasn't so much about the money and all of that. I was glad to join and then just expand. And if opportunities come, who knows? All right, so I think I've addressed the bit. If there are any other questions, we'll be glad to answer.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Okay, I'll use mine. Okay, so I will just come from where both of my organ here stopped. But I would like to start with remote work. Who would like to work remotely here? Almost everybody. Okay, so let me focus on that. I work remotely, like I said earlier, and the people I work with, I've never seen any of them before. We only just do video meetings and all that. So I stay in my room and I do my work. But to get to that point, you have to start from somewhere. It didn't happen overnight. They have talked about moonlighting a lot, so I'm not going to even talk about moonlighting. There are a lot of roles that you can do remotely. But the first thing is, of course, you must know your skills, right? Know what you are really good at. There are some roles that you cannot do remotely, and there are some roles that you can do remotely. So you have to identify where you belong to. I know on social media, you will see adverts, learn how to be a software developer in 2 weeks and start earning $20,000 per week. And everybody begins to jump on it. I'm sure we all see that, right? So the thing is, you don't have to do what everybody is doing. I am not an IT person, but I work remotely. So you have to identify who you are, your strengths, your skills. Don't just wake up today and say, hey, everybody's working remotely. Let me start working remotely. You must identify what you are doing. For example, the lady who says she's an accountant, there are certain accounting roles that can be done remotely. Accounting is very broad, as a matter of fact. Accounting is very, very broad. So the people in the accounting space, maybe over time, they decide to focus on one aspect of accounting. And maybe it can be done remotely. And maybe they just have to come to the office once in a week or once in a month or thereabouts. So if you want to work remotely, it's not magic. Leave all the magic you are seeing on social media. Most of my work is on social media, so I see everything. It's not magic. Some of them are just clickbait to just get you to click on the link so that they can increase engagement. If you don't know who you are and what you stand for, and you don't know your skills, you cannot get a remote job. I'm telling you, it's hard. Even the one I am doing, when I applied, I didn't know I would get called. I just applied. And they were looking for one person from Africa to handle that position. I got shortlisted. During the interview, you know how they use questions to hit you bass. Exactly, that was what happened. They drilled me in and out. But because of my experience, because of my skills, I was able to answer most of those questions. Now imagine maybe I lied on my CV or I did not have the experience. How would I have been able to answer those questions? So you see, remote work is not magic. You must identify your skill, build your experience. Let's say you want to Give me an example of a remote work. Somebody give me an example of a remote work. Say that again. Virtual assistant. Okay, good. Everybody wants to be a VA today. I don't know what's going on. But let's say you apply for a job and you don't have any experience as a virtual assistant. Please, what would the recruiter use to assess you? So what that means is, if you see a job, on-site job as a personal assistant, take it and start from there. It's an experience that you can use because the job description are very similar. The difference is that virtual assistants, you work remotely and you use a lot of tools and software. So start from somewhere and build yourself. Don't say because I'm fresh out of school, my friend is doing virtual assistant, me too, I must do it. It's important that you focus on what your strengths are. And if you have a job and you want to do side hustle, I mean, that's really good. When I was working in Globalcom as a call center representative, I was writing CVs. So when I get home, instead of me to go and sleep, I'll on my laptop because somebody then said I wasn't even charging so much because it was something I had just started. Some of you just start side hustle and your price is way off the roof for something where you don't even know very well. So my price was so fair that when I get home, before I go to bed, of course, I'll be very tired, but I'll just start something, by the time I wake up in the morning, maybe I usually wake up by 4 a.m., I wake up by 3:30 a.m., so I can finish that work and then get ready to go to the office. That was a side hustle for me, which over time, it has grown into main hustle. So you have to start from somewhere. There was a lady who reached out to me. She works somewhere where she was doing like customer service. And she told me she has tried to sell shoes. She has tried to sell bag on Instagram, which many people are doing, and it's not working. And I said, you have not identified what works for you. Guess what? I found out later that this lady enjoys cooking. And I said, why not cook and sell in the office? Is it against the policies of the organization? She said, no. I said, then explore it. That's an option. So I'm speaking to you today. That lady sells pancakes in the office. She sells small chops, zobo, and all her colleagues, including the HR, everybody, they buy what they sell because it's not against the policy of the company. And most times in the office, you don't have the strength to want to go out to buy something. Meanwhile, you have a colleague that sells what you can eat. It's a win-win for everybody. So start with your strength, start where you are, and I'm sure with time, you get the best out of it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Just before we go into questions, right, we'll take contribution here.
All right, thank you. So I wanted to add to what Mr. Jimmy said. So instead of side hustle, let me call it side gig. I think that's better, right? So let's call it side gig. So for me, apart from what I do, even though people ask me how I do it, I also do events. So I don't plan because that's more stressful. So I do coordination and I do decoration. But yet, even in my office, right, as I yesterday evening, my graphic designer, I still gave him a job, just, around, I think 8 p.m. that a friend needed design she's in Canada, so she needs quick design. And I said, oh, I have a colleague that's very good. So don't worry, it will get it out within 2 hours. He got paid 30K just yesterday and within 2 hours. That's because you know what you're doing. I have colleagues in my office, even my office assistant, she knows how to cook. And my people don't really like going out. So what I told her was, BDM, you can cook. So what's the big deal? We have gas cooker in the office and no staff is going to go there and start cooking. She started preparing, what's it called? Toast bread and noodles for people in the office. And they start buying. In short, at the point, she upgraded it to start adding fish. That's noodles and fish and all that, they buy it. So even at what you do or at, your current place of work, so far is not against the policy. You need to ask, you need to check, please, right? You can do it. And as well, it's not bad letting people know what you know how to do best. It can be a hobby. I have a salesperson in my, in my office, one of our subsidiary, that she knows how to bake cake, small chops and all that. Whenever we have events in the office, I just tell her, I told me we need small chops, just supply us. I'm not taking the money out. I'm giving it to a staff, right? My own is, don't tell me you're preparing small chops. Why I'm meant to go and be, getting client to, that will not work. So that's going to be a problem. But so far, it's not something that is going to affect what you currently do. And it's something that you do effortlessly without having to do it. In short, you can be a middle person. That's even another side gig. You don't have to be the one doing it. You know somebody that knows somebody that can get something done. Just get the money. Be the one in the middle. Your own is you're making calls. You're making sure what you're bringing out is good and you're delivering it to the person that needs it. A friend of mine did it yesterday evening and he got 50,000 naira within just 1 hour. So it's something that you can do, right? So just get what you know how to do best. Don't let it be like a conflict of interest. Not that my company is selling real estate and you're selling extra real estate. I've gotten somebody sacked. In short, I gave him a letter the next morning. Have a nice day and thank you for coming. Because it's in our policy, right? So far you're not breaking it. Yes, I think you're in a good path. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Thank you. All right, we'll take 1 or 2 questions. If you have, please raise your hand. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. All right, so we have a question. Is that all? We're actually pressed for time. So, any other question? Okay. Okay. All right, good. So please come forward. Tell us your name and then your question. Please come forward.
My name is Fumlayo Alabi. Okay, my question is this. Also, I'm an HR. No, anybody can answer it. Though in my company is a construction firm. As an HR, you do your job. And from there, they introduced me to another side also as an HR. But there's a dual conflict in our policy that we can't do. But it's my head of department that introduced me, and I'm collecting my pay. In that aspect, is it? Though it's a sister company, I'm working. In that space, what about if somebody is doing that, and also is the same designation? Will it be?
All right. So you said it's your, just put it in context, it's your line manager who introduced you to it. Okay. But what does the policy of the organization say? No, you don't. If the policy is against it, the day it backfires, everybody will answer their. So if the policy is not against it, what's the fear? What's the concern?
He's doing, let me say, an accounting job, and he's doing a side hustle in that aspect. And the company is kind of against it. Will it contradict it? Because somebody has a question, why working with us for the first time, saying that there's a clause on our handbook that you can't do anything that is your own job doing. And I said, what about if he's working? I say, if it is doing the working hour, we will sack you. So, but if we can do it apart,
so let's be creative about it, right? I'm not sure my employer has control over my time, what I do, my Saturday. I'm here. Is technically HR related. And I believe I have also grown to a certain point. If my employer says I cannot come here today, then we need to review that relationship. But when you are just coming up, you might need to, some of the steps that I can take, you might not be able to take it. But are there things that I can do at my off-work hours? And if I'm in HR, I do a number of things for HR related for a number of organizations. Some of them will pay me. Some I do it at no cost. But I'm not spending the office time to do it. My work is not being hampered. If my employer called me now and say, why are you here? Now, when Torres reached out to me, I told him I will act as a panelist because where I work is very funny. They can call me yesterday and say, come into the office today. And I don't want a situation where I say, I will take a presentation and then I'm unable to do it. So I would plan myself well, but I'm not sure my employer has absolute control over what happens. And I'm also, that's why I said be creative. And I'm not going to go out in the office and say, oh, I'm doing this for this person. I'm doing that for that person, just in a bit to market my product. And I think you'll be demarketing yourself, actually. But there are certain things. So for instance, you work in a bank and you're going into a business of lending and you know that that is what your bank does. I know that one is a no-no. Is a no-no. There are some things that it's a no-no. And look at a lot of the doctors you meet at government hospitals, they have their private practice and it's known. But when they are supposed to be at the government hospital, they will be there. But banking, for instance, is highly regulated. Highly regulated. So put all of that in context. There are some things you would do. But if my employer tell me I cannot be here today, then we will review that engagement, because what I'm doing is also is HR related, is career related, right? So, but irrespective of who introduces you, please be very sure of yourself, because when push comes to shove, everybody will answer their father's name. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. You have a question, right? Okay. All right, great. Thank you so much. So we'll now go into the next session. A round of applause as they take their seats. All right, so my colleague here, Pelumi, would enlighten us on what the next session is about.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Oluwa Pelumi. So I think at the beginning of the session this morning, forgive my manners, I may not be able to put a name to our first speaker. The pastor said something very precise where he said, come with an expectation, basically. So I want to believe that when you saw the invite or the flyer or whatever means in which you heard about this event, you had an expectation of, oh, I'm coming here because of this. I'm coming here for this, and the likes. So this very session we'll be going into is going to be for 15 minutes. It won't exceed 15 minutes, and it would be more like an interactive session with, let's say, all or any of our speakers. Yes. So my 2 cents would be maximize this session, not only with the speakers, but even with participants, because you literally do not know who you are seated beside. So whoever you're sitting beside could be the person that could give you your big break. Okay, so let me just share this. I remember sometime last year, I was about moving to my current place of work. I was at a career fair. It was the least expected tent that, my mind, I was like, I don't even know these guys. I don't know what they do. But I was just like, okay, let's just go there. I went there, and in the space of a week, I had my interview, first, second interview, my assessment, everything. And I got a job with them. So it wasn't planned. So literally, I would say summary of everything is maximize connection and just interact. Thank you. So our speakers would be, I think they would be moving around, or basically just coming forward so that you could ask questions. Please, 15 minutes. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Pelumi. So just to add to what she said, they would sort of maybe just stand around, right? They can be speaking to more than one person at a time. So don't say because somebody's them, is that we only have 15 minutes. So please ensure that you utilize opportunity. Just 15 minutes. There's someone you want to speak to, go and sit with them, stand with them and say, oh, please, I want to know you, have this, right? So please, we can start. Thank you so much. Thank you. Media, can we have music, please? Well done.
I'm free and slide. Tell me, where do I begin? Oh, hey, look at my hands. Oh, you might be cherubim. Tabi said, I feel alone. Lord, Timo, why you're one of fish, your mercy of goodness, my finger and my feeling. Oh, I see it. Gratitude to say. I saw it everything. Give me a say, show, a show, just everything. Give me a say, show, yes. Cause every time I look to my right, every time I look to my left, all I see all over me is your goodness. Every time I look up down, every time I look from top down below, all I see all over me is your goodness. It's your goodness. You cannot fathom or comprehend this life. Tell me, where do I begin? Tell me, where do I begin? My hands up. You might get betrayed. That be said, I feel. Money long. Lord, I want to know why you want more fish, Bora. Your mercy of the depths. My finger by my feeling. Oh, I see it. Gratitude to say. I saw it everything in me. I said, show, yes, yes. With everything in me, I said, show, yes, yes. Cause every time I look to my right, every time I look to my left, all I see all over me is your goodness. And every time I look from up in the middle, every time I look from top down below, all I see all over me is your goodness. And this your faithfulness, just, yes. Everything in me, I say, just, yes. 'Cause every time I look to my right, every time I look to my left, all I see all over me is your face. Open. They're calling my praise and I adore it. That's all I ever bring to you. Nothing else will matter but the satisfaction. Knowing I lived it all for you. They're calling my love and my devotion. That's all I ever bring to you. Nothing else will matter but the satisfaction. Knowing I lived it all for you. So take all of my That's all I ever bring to you. Nothing else will matter but the satisfaction. Knowing I lived it all for you. Take all of my love and my devotion. That's all I ever bring to you. Nothing else will matter but the satisfaction. Knowing I lived it all for you. Hallelujah. Everything is your power, everything is your we don't get nothing. Time that the microphone like a showing up. And it's constant, and it's right. But you know, we just get in started. I won't take a sit down, I won't take a breather, I won't be shut my job. Elevation, adoration. Don't stop, you can go on and on and on me. Shama for me, you might call me. Taratobi, or Yamaka, it's a bread, so be. You can take on the ladder. Get calling mama, mama. Get calling mama. Get calling mama. That's the climate, this the science of your machine. We are only to attain. Do there's liberty, for this freedom. You give clarity in a conundrum. Bring the heavens, oh, pendulum over it. For you're without end, or should we count? Many, many reasons to call you. No, cause when we call your name, you will listen. Oh, you're without end, or should we count? Many, many reasons to call you. No, when we call your name, you deliver. You got me nothing, you got me here, no, you don't. Me and no love. Why would I act it when I'm in you? Go down, but spirit so type of. What that me look at what's I so you man, if you shy. They lost me. Matter of fact, we're certainty. There's no counterfeit to you or an instinct. For you're without an end, don't you be count. Many, many reasons to call you. No, cause when we and you will listen. For you're without an end, don't you be count. Many, many reasons to love you. No, cause when we call your name, you feel it. Oh, you're without an end, or should we count it? Many, many reasons to hold you. No, cause When they call you name, you do for me. God at the sea, God at the harvest, God to fulfill all of the promise. God in the many, God in the little. God in the number, God in the legend, God at the fall, God at the ancient, God at the start, you're in the reference. You got the author, the one to finish. To you all power relinquish. I'm your back, Kaleo, because you are. Who then will he turn to? Anya bama koleo because you are. Who then will he run to? God of the beast, God of the skyless, God in the fields, God in the cave, God of the shepherd, God of the shepherd. No one behind us, no one to live. God in the prison, God in the palace, God in the den, God in the furnace, God of the sea, God of the insane. No one outside us, no one within. You're God of mercy, God of repentance. You're God of battle, you God of vengeance. You're God the anchor, the one who holds. Oh, you're the center, you're the focus. Tanya Babekeleo. Tanya Babekeleo. Oh God of spirit, oh God of flesh, your throne belongs to no one else. God in the secret, well, the one who gives life, the one. God of the stars, God of the sun, to you all creation belongs. God of Trinity, one, the Father, Spirit, God the Son. Kanya Babekeleo. Who then? Beyond. Kanya Babekeleo. With every step I take, on every move I make, my consciousness, and all of my unconsciousness, and you will I'll be there to say, God gives no hope.
All right, praise God. We have less than 1 minute to go. Less than 1 minute to go.
the wide open for your embrace, and I cannot stress it. You have no rival, none is your equal, and I can't make no sense of any you ain't the boy, oh, me, oh, what oh, me, oh, you can't be no more than enough for me. And you have no rival, none is your equal, and I can't make no sense of any you ain't the boy, oh, me, oh, what oh, me, oh, you can't be no more than enough for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just mommy, oh, my jealous lover. What's special is what I am. Irreplaceable is how you make me feel something so real on my own. My hope is in you, alone, and in the be well, something all over me. My phone, my thoughts, the wide open for your embrace, and I cannot stress it. You have no rival, none is your equal, and I can't make no sense of it if you ain't here. Oh, yo, me, oh, yo. Oh, go me, oh, you can't be me. No more than enough for me. You have no rival, none is your equal, and I can't make no sense of it if you ain't here. Oh, yo, me, oh, yo. Oh, go me, oh, you can't be me. No more than enough for me. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hallelujah. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We just take 5 minutes break. 5 minutes break, and then we'll start the next session. 5 minutes break, and then we'll go into the next session. Next session will be on interviews, mock interviews. You don't want to miss it, right? Things around. I get G3 when it comes to interviews. How do I attend interviews? What do I say in an interview? Right? So we have about 4 more minutes for the break. So we are presently on break. 4 more minutes for break, and then we'll start the next session.
You're breaking down my wall. See, I know that your spirit is here with me, unwhelming me. Walk back, body won't, oh, again, I'm petty for my own. Emotion, don't Alright, call me go, my shepherds from the valley go, come on, I'm trying to kill the war. All the show, I'm my defender, one, send on me. You land on me. Yeah, feeling now, yeah, feelings. You're breaking down my wall. See, I know that your spirit is here with me. On bed, walk back. What do you want? What do you want to buy? Oh, to buy. I don't know. Again, I'm ready for my own. Sugar, Kini Buddha, Sini, Kini Silva, Kini Capital, never trade you for nothing. See me as I'm rolling deep. We're intertwined, oh, I feel out in mind. See me as I'm staggering. For your love, your everything is very hard to find. Oh, let me talk, oh, let me tell. Oh, what you know, oh, let me tell. Oh, for me, la la, for your head. Well, it's any, my sanity, can it be away? Oh, let me talk, oh, let me tell. Oh, what you know, oh, let me tell. Oh, for me, la la, for your head. Well, it's any, my sanity, can it be away? We're nothing harmony, we're nothing synergy, it's not everything. It's written in the stars for me, written in the sands, my feet, I'm in the oceans, they you see me as I am, I wanna see your full glory all over me. See me as I am, I wanna feel you closer and closer to me. Oh, let me talk, oh, let me tell.
All right, praise God. Let's begin to settle down now. Let's begin to settle down. So we're resuming the session back. The next session will run for 30 minutes. Once that's so 2 people. So the panelists sit. All right, praise God. Praise God. Praise God. All right, so we're done with networking. Thank you very much. Let's come together now. Let's come together. We're now done with networking in Jesus' name. Thank you very much. So let's sit. All right. We are getting into some very, very serious business. Please just come in. Now we are getting into some very serious business now, right? And we'll have interview simulations, or what we call mock interviews. Are we together? Are we together? All right. Now what this means is we are going to have an interview session in this event, right? The panelists will go up. They will be the interviewers. They will interview you. They will sort of maybe give tips. Maybe we'll give each of them maybe about 5 minutes to give you tips on what to do in interviews. Then following that, we'll now have so we'll do for 2 people, right, because of our time. Maybe we'll take about 5 minutes or so, or maybe 10 minutes if time permits, on each person. So we interview the person. After the interview, we give feedback to the person. Then we have another person come up, we interview you, we give feedback. All right. Then we now round off and move to the next session. Right. So I'll just call up the panelists. And then we'll go into the session. I hope we are together. How has the event been so far? Enlightening. All right, awesome. I like the sound of that. All right, so I'm just going to call up the panelists for this particular session. Like I said, it's on mock interviews. So we're going to have Mr. Remy Fakumoju. I apologize. I've not gotten used to your name. Right, please round of applause for him as he comes up. Is it because we're eating donuts? That's why we are not clapping. All right. We're also going to have Miss Monisola Ojelaja. Is she here? Is she here? Okay. All right. We may need to improvise then. Sorry, just a minute. Actually, I agree. All right, so we're also going to have Miss Ugochi Obi join that session. Ugochi Obi. Please, round of applause for her. All right, we'll also have the moderator for this particular session. That's Yetunde Akintoye. Let's celebrate her. And then I would also be joining the session as well. So yeah, so I would have to get. All right, so let's take volunteers. You would like to interview, you would like to test your interview skills, and also to get feedback on how your interview skill is. We can only take 2 people, actually. We can just take 2 people. We'll take one person and then the other person. So if you want to, can you just raise your hand? All right, so I have one. Who wants to go next? I prefer male and female. No, you tell us on your specialty. You tell us based on your specialty. So I have a male. I would like to take a female, actually. Please, let's make it snap because of time. Who wants to? Okay, you like to. All right, awesome. So we have the 2 persons. Can we? So, like I said earlier, we'll just sort of give tips to start with, right? On how to attend interviews, right? And then we then start. But we have the volunteers already, right? So who is starting this time? Huh? No, not yet.
Why did you have to put me on the spot? All right, good afternoon, everyone. So what we're going to be doing today is more like an exercise. And then what I would say is, for anybody that is going to come in here today, please don't see this seat as a horse seat. It's a soft one. We're going to move it a bit closer, right? It's just for us to get to know one another. So what I always do while I'm doing interview is, and I'm always telling people, it's not bad that you came into an interview session and you're already pantering already. You should have had someone come into one of our panel session and I can literally see her sweating, as in not just sweating. As soon as she come inside, she already, shaking. So what I told her was, please, do you need water? So it's not bad. If you ask for, please, can I get a bottle of water? Just for you to feel calm, right? And I'm always telling people, it's not an interview like that. It's a discussion. We're just getting here to know one another. I just want to know what you have and what you want to give to me. And guess what? After that time, you can ask me what I'm also offering to you. So see it as though you are chatting with a friend. Not that a friend that you know, but a friend that you're about to know, right? So that's what I would say. And I think I should just pause here before, I started going further. So I think we should have our first person come on board and then we get to know one another. All right, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Good afternoon.
Nice to meet with you.
Thank you.
All right, so before you go, I'd like to introduce myself and my colleagues on this panel, right? So my name is Yetunde, and I have on this side, I have Oluwafemi, and the other side, I have Remy, and in that corner, I have Ogochi, right? Please just see this as a discussion, right? And feel free. If you need anything, let me know, right? I'm just here to make you feel better.
All right. Thank
So,
you.
can you introduce yourself briefly, just within 2 minutes, and then we can take it up.
All right. My name is Victor Olubumi Adesoye. I'm a software quality assurance engineer with over 4 years experience in software testing. Overseen and collaborated on both manual and automation test projects. I've used Selenium for test automation. I've used REST Assure for API automation. And I've also executed projects from banking, HR, and other data retail applications. I'm confident that my experience will be a valuable addition to your team. Thank you.
All right, thank you. It's nice to meet you with you. So for now, I'm going to pass it to a colleague of mine, and he's going to take it up from there.
Please tell me your name again.
I can't get you.
Your name.
Okay, Victor Olubumi Adesoye.
Victor. Pleasure to meet you, Victor. How are you doing?
Thank you, I'm fine.
Okay, so like we said, it's a conversation. So thank you for sharing your experience.
Thank you.
I hear what your core competencies are. So my first question to you would be, when it comes to software development, especially in our own clients, right? One of the things that always shows lacking is documentation, right? How do you manage that when you are carrying out software testing?
All right. From software development, it's important that there's a documentation passed on to you from the developers. As a tester, we have highlighted deliverables to consider before you start testing. We have the test plan that you need to consider. We have to also consider the test strategy to use. But you cannot actually know all of that if there's no documentation for the project development itself. So you need to understand that, and all the features that will be under tests, features that will not be under test, or the kind of test you want to carry out will be spelled out in the documentation. So you create a test plan from that documentation for you to execute it. And some of the things you have on your test plan includes the review of the project, the features to be tested, the risk analysis of the test, the schedule, and the personnel that will be carrying out the tests. With some few other things too, you'll be good.
Okay. So before I pass you to Ugochi, right, I have a two-pronged question for you, okay? Who are your key stakeholders as a software tester?
Primarily a product engineer, product person, and the developer. So the product, in many cases, speaks to what the management is passing across to the development team. The developer are the one that bring whatever design that have been designed from the product team to reality, while the tester are the one that validates if those things actually meet the requirements spelled out in the requirement documentation.
Fantastic. So let's assume that there is another stakeholder, really, which is the business side, right? You have an app that you're supposed to test.
Yes.
Launch date is on, so today is Saturday, launch date is on Tuesday. Fanfare, PR, everything is up there. And you discover while you're testing, final round of testing, that there's a fundamental error. How are you going to manage that situation?
First, there is, I think number one thing we need to ascertain is whether the time is short or not. Quality is the first priority. No matter when you are discovering whether something is wrong or not, you must escalate it and must be dealt with. So the first person that attends to that kind of issue is the tester itself. You need to investigate the impact of that bug on the entire project. You need to also investigate the severity of the bug on the entire project. If it's a configuration issue, you need to liaise with the product person, because in most cases, the product carry out the configuration in conjunction with the QA. And if it's a code issue, you refer to the developer to use. Then we also have test metrics that you use to measure the amount of completeness of the test cases that you have designed to actually validate the functionality of the test. So you need to put the developer also on the time schedule that is required for them to fix the issue. Then within that short period that you have agreed on, you also carry out a regression testing to be sure that whatever fix have been in